So in today's video, I'm going to talk about a topic that should really help all of you. Golfers that are trying to make swing changes and trying to improve your swing, either from your having lessons or you're trying to tinker around with stuff a little bit yourself. And you're noticing that maybe you're having some success with these changes on the range, but maybe you're not having such success when you get out to the golf course. And that's going to be a topic of conversation on the channel. So make sure you subscribe, press the little bell icon if you haven't already done so, because you don't want to miss out on these little topics and little snippets and little tips that should help you make these transitions and swing changes become a little bit more natural. So how do you go about it? Well, one of the things that I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about this sort of legal cheat move that I would suggest a large proportion of you are not doing, or if you think you are doing it, maybe you're not doing it correctly or therefore even enough. So we've got two examples in today's video of golfers that weren't using the cheat move, started to use the cheat move and started to see a very instant improvement. Now I want to start with an online student of mine. Now, this online student has been making some changes and making some very steady gains, but like a lot of golfers would struggle with the driver. And like a lot of golfers has this tendency to start the downswing for the trail hip to sort of fire forward, club shaft gets a little vertical and then has to keep the face open and hits a sort of controlled fade, if you like. But as we all know, that can quickly turn into maybe a pull, or it can quite quickly turn into a little bit too much of a slice. So we've heard it before and I've spoke to him about the issue. So what we decided to do was utilize a practice swing. Okay, and that was what we did. So what I said to this student is I said, look, what I want you to do is I want you to do two really exaggerated practice swings where you're sort of creating, if you like, a figure of eight. So that means that you're sort of taking the club up this direction, dropping it down this sort of direction, and just to try and really exasperate that feeling. So we did a couple of practice swings and then a shot. Now later that day, he quickly went back out onto the driving range, managed to quickly re-record something for me. I'm not suggesting, in all transparency as I am, very honest person, I'm not suggesting the result was initially amazing, but from a visual perspective, there was a very significant swing change straight away. So, some little food for thought there. We're going to come back to that. Let's go over and talk about my round of golf with Lynn. Now, Lynn is somebody who has featured on the channel quite a few times, and it's the first time, like I say, that I've been out on the golf course this year myself, and Lynn's obviously played vast more golf than that, and I was really keen to see how some of the changes that we've been documenting on the channel and some of the changes that I've been doing in the lesson were going to pan out. I wasn't disappointed. Lynn played some really good golf, but the habits were still there. And we played the first couple of holes and I could see these habits still there. Now, if we have a quick look at an analysis, basically Lynn is kind of, again, similar to a lot of amateur golfers, slight overswing in the backswing, which causes a problem with sequence. And particularly in the downswing, similar to my online student, the sort of trail hip fires forward. And again, that can cause inconsistencies. But where we've been with Lynn is with our online conversations, we'd had this agreement that we'd kind of make sure that the backswing was much, much shorter. And after having a brief conversation with Lynn on the golf course about this, that's what she started to do. She started to mix it up. And what she did is she started to do a practice swing, which was considerably shorter, and do 1 or 2 repetitions of that, and then hit a shot. And yet again, the results had improved. So what we need to do with golf is that golf is a very difficult thing, right? There's lots of moving parts and you're trying to potentially re-sequence stuff together. But the point of this is that if you are somebody who's really struggling, then just start to look at the fundamental basic reason as to why you're struggling to do it. And well, you're not utilizing your practice swing to its full effect. This is why you're potentially much better in a golf lesson than you are on your own, is we also operate very much on short-term memory. So that basically means that if you are somebody who has a over-the-top sort of swing that you're trying to kick out of, and you don't have a practice swing that's that useful and you're sort of just doing, you know, something quite sort of wishy-washy, just swinging the club around, then I would personally suggest that's one of the fundamental reasons why you're struggling to make a swing change. If you are somebody who has an over-the-top move, similar to what we've sort of documented in this session, and I would bet my hat on if you started to have 2 practice swings before every shot that you hit, exasperating the sort of opposite thing that you are currently doing, I would have a really funny feeling if you wouldn't start to see some significant difference really, really quickly. And that's that short-term memory. So what you're doing is when you're making those practice swings, you are going to have a much better chance of stepping up to that golf ball and remembering what that practice swing felt like to be able to deliver it. And again, that is something that I've seen with my online student. He made a instant swing change, like literally instant swing change. And what we also saw with Lynn is that she managed to make an instant swing change on the golf course. So neither golfer are perfect, none of us are. But the point is that if you can focus on the thing that you're trying to change, start to incorporate your cheating opportunity to have a useful practice swing, which you don't get in any other sports or very few sports, you might just start to notice the game gets a little bit easier. I'll see you guys again really soon.